gosh, a person came to me the other day and asked for my advice about something. Wow. I want to acknowledge myself that I obviously do show up as a leader to some degree. And build on that leadership ability. Right, that's the us side. Now, there's the side of us making decisions about other people. Who have you got who's your toughest customer? Whether that person is on your team or outside of your team, but is someone that's important that you relate well to, what are the limiting decisions you've made about that person? Because I'll guarantee you DNA is alive and well. And that means that you have set it up so that you are looking for all the indications and continually acknowledge that person is that way. And what does that do? What that does is creates a downward spiral based on that decision. Every time you notice another indication of it, it builds on that decision. Well, no matter who you're working with, no matter how tough they might be, maybe the issue is that we're working with someone with a behavioral style or perhaps motivators that are very, very different than ours. And it's really easy for us, can be a challenge for us. But once we become aware of the distinctions, the differences between us, and honor the other person for being okay just the way they are, just like we want to honor ourselves for being okay just the way we are, then we can start looking for indications that this other person is supportive, that this other person wants to help. Maybe behaviorally, the way they act, it sure doesn't seem like they want to help, but let's make a new decision about that person. Let's start looking for indications that they are supportive. And you know what? When they are supportive, acknowledge them. Don't just do it in our own mind. Acknowledge them for the support they're providing us. And you watch the difference that comes out of that. Stephen Covey said, the greatest need of the human soul is to feel affirmed, acknowledged, I think it was respected and understood. Understanding is a key piece, and if we understand that we have a tendency to automatically look for what's wrong with the other person, if we can shift that decision to see their strengths, see where they're adding value, to see where they are supportive, we can start acknowledging that, and we'll literally build a whole new person in front of our eyes. You may or may not agree with quantum physics, but quantum physics says the observer actually impacts the outcome. Now think about how this fits that. That what we look for in the other person is what we're going to see indications of and what we're going to acknowledge of. Now, does that mean that their actual behavior changed just because we were looking for something different? No, I'm not suggesting that. Probably not. But I'll tell you what, if we continue, whatever it is we continue to acknowledge, like for instance our appreciation of them, that's what we're going to get more of. And that will, as the observer, that will affect the behavior. So we got a choice about what we look for, and it's all based on the decision we've made about that other person. So what new decisions can we make about our boss, about other team members that we work with, someone outside the team that we work with, our customers, our clients, whoever they are? There's a tremendous opportunity for us to shift the experience of the relationships we have and the effectiveness of those relationships that we have by changing our own decision about the individual people, the teams, the job. Your job. That's another situation. What's your decision you've made about your job? What new decision could you make about the job that's somewhere above zero? If it happened to be a below zero job, this job sucks. Well, guess what? You're right. What was it? Henry Ford said, if you think you can or think you cannot, you're right. This is self-fulfilling prophecy. Another way to say the same thing. So making a supportive decision about whatever you find yourself making negative comments, negative mind talk about, is a tremendous opportunity to change the world that you experience. I hope this has been helpful. Have a great week.